Hello and welcome to the show. Today it's Friday. Does everybody like Fridays?
Yeah.
All right. Today I'm going to get into some art making. I've been looking forward to this day for so long. And we have a bunch of friends around. We got Tanner over here and Catherine over here and Brandon over there. We are going to put forth such interesting conceptual thought patterns. I'm going into right brain land. I don't know if I'm going to come back out, but today is the day. Getting close to Christmas time. People are celebrating. We got traffic everywhere, but that is good. We are going to get into some watercolors, some fine materials, some ink pens, and we'll try to throw in a few surprises.
All right. Well, I am super excited to see this. Let's hit the ground running, so they say. I don't know.
So I started off with some graphite. I added some water, and it was very thin, and so I started to get a very thick pen, a number 10. And these are heavy-duty pigment pens that have ink that does not wash away with water. And you might wonder, why would you want to do that? But it is because I'm going to add some water, and we're going to see what we can come up with by staining into the ancient type of drawing. We're going to make a look that fades from gold and yellows down to reds and oranges and browns. That's my intention. It might go other ways, but I had this idea to make animals within the brick forms coming through and just escaping and being free.
All right. Someone's wondering what brand of pigment pens you're using right now.
I found these on Amazon. They are OHTO, OTO.
Ooh.
Graphic liners. Pigment, ink, waterproof, and fade proof. That means no getting faded, y'all. Keep it real. What I've done in here is made a kind of a grid. You'll see some block formations coming out. And when we start to add a little bit of color, it's going to fade upwards. And I'm going to use the sunlight making shadow one direction and the moonlight doing another thing. So right now I am putting in some ink into some clouds, some lightning bolts, and then we're just gonna be in the free form where when I'm talking, it will often sound like I'm in that world, which is what I'm going for. So many people were writing to me and telling me just to get into it and have fun, and so that's what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
How many people out there would like to see more Freezy videos?
Everyone. Who wouldn't is the real question. Yeah, this is John's very first live on his channel. Unless he did stuff that I don't know of, but I'm pretty sure this is the first one. And we're all get to be a part of this moment in history together. We're witnessing history in the making here, folks.
There's no pressure.
Someone's wondering, how long did you spend on the initial sketch of this piece?
A few hours. But I thought because we have only 30 minutes, I wanted to get something down that would be fun enough to add some color to, and then I wanted to get over the graphic lines of the graphite into ink because that way they'll still have more definition. Now we have this good stuff where you can take a little square and get so much pigment from there. So we take any brush. We happen to have a lot of beautiful brushes here. Just take this one. It has water already in it. And you get it started. This has blue all over it. I don't know if we're going to do blue today. You can see if there's blue. Oh, it's still in there, but it'll be fun. Okay, we're gonna just wash it. We're gonna go into that brown. Oh, it's kind of greenish. Good thing we tested it. That is gonna be a mid-range. Some of these browns are very mysterious, but they are made with such pigment. Test it out. That is unusual. Wow. Let's just splash it. Let's see what happens. We got green, browns, oranges. Wow. As long as we're in tree world, we can have browns and greens. So when I go to Europe, I see the trees come through the bricks. So people have made these spaces, and the trees come up, and the roots push out, and it makes such a formation. Okay, did you have a question?
Would you say this part of the process is more intuitive? Like, are you kind of just feeling this out, or how much of, or do you have any of a plan right now for this?
Yes, good question. When I set out to do one, I sometimes start with watercolor. And I've been going back and forth with sketchbooks. And so now I've been so familiar with the materials that I can go pen and then brush and maybe some more pen. And the idea just comes about because you start off with a light brush, you know, a light pencil, which will allow the idea to be building. And then when you go to draw on top of it, if you choose, you will have your starting point very loose and ready for your main idea, if that makes sense there.
Yeah.
So a lot of times I'm standing when I do this. I use a bigger brush. This one has water inside of it. So we can add the pressure and the water comes out of the brush.
So how do you, someone's wondering in the chat, how do you choose your color story for your pieces?
Good question. Choosing the color story is a big part of your piece. And for days, as I was doing the drawing, I was going to choose reds and browns. But then I thought, I will throw some golds in. So I'm going to use a limited color today. And when you're going to design your art piece and you're thinking about those colors, just try to think of what's current or where it will go and the direction you want it to go. So I like old tapestry, so I'm going for this brown and tan kind of coffee spill situation. And I put a bunch of figures in that have this movement of carrying suitcases and traveling. I'm thinking of the travelers these days. And a lot of times people are wearing grays and blacks and everything, but I like to have splashes of color. So once you get your nice staining down, you can add some splashes of any color you choose. It just has to, if you go for that staining look, it's going to have a nice foundation to start with, which I hope I can do in this time frame.
Yeah, they've given you quite a challenge to do.
But the thing is, while we're doing it, if you can see these buildings come out from being just a line drawing and then getting visible with a little bit of washes, that will be pretty fun. And sometimes I do a color field that's very large. We can get that going. The larger one. These are what I've been using. So I've been sketching every morning as an exercise, just getting ready for any chance to paint. And this kind of a brush will hold a lot of water.
Yeah, and to give a little sneak peek, John is using some of our new watercolor brushes we'll be releasing soon. I don't have a date yet, but soon, so stay tuned for that. It's going to be so fun.
Did you know, right before I left the house this afternoon, some artists came over and they were so fascinating. We were having a discussion right away. This man had worked for Marvel Comics and he knew all these kind of cool things. I just wanted to hear from him, but I only had a few minutes of time to spend. And Ellie was on the couch. She came in there and she had so much to add to the conversation. But the lady had worked in the Disney field and her father also worked for Disney his whole career. So they were a really interesting couple. And I asked him right away, how do you do these figures in motion with the fire and explosions and everything? And he had a really good bunch of things to say about that.
Wow. You meet such interesting people, John, in your life.
Oh, that's my favorite thing. And also, working at the gallery, I spend a lot of days there and nights. It's just a dream come true to be there that often and we're doing little classes. So if you're ever in town, check our artsocial.com and you will see we have a list of really fun classes. Different instructors will be there. We're having one after the other. Totally beautiful classes where even beginners who have never painted since they were little, but husband and wife couples are coming in and trying it, and they just love it. But we're just getting started out here again. It's a way to meet everyone in Sarasota.
Someone's wondering if you ever work from a source or if this is coming just straight from your head.
Oh, this is just imagination, but I do use sources. I love sources. Yes, indeed. Here's another traveler with a suitcase. How about that? How many we got in here?
Versus asking, John, what's your favorite big cat species?
Oh, let's see. Big cat, you know. That's a hard question right there.
Yeah, that's a thinker.
I really like polar bears, but they're not a cat. But they
Says
wonder
who?
what they'd do if
Have
they ever met.
scientists proved that definitively yet?
Okay, I would say, you know, just always like lions. I don't even, they're trendy. I know it's a very trendy choice. I'm not being pressured to say that. It's, there's such an interesting cat and they're doing so many fun things, you know, out there. It does look like they're kind of joking around. They feel very confident, you know, whatever they're doing. And they do play a lot of the day, but then you also see the male lion just lounges about so much, and you can see the little arguments happen and stuff out in the deserts. But when they get serious, they get some things done, and they just go back to lounging. Kind of like a polar bear, would you say? They can be pretty fierce.
Huh. Would a polar bear and a lion be friends?
Haha. They would. They will be, and they have been in the past. We know that. This, I looked at a photo to draw this. It was a golden lion with white flowing hair. I pretty much made it tangly, but I thought if I could get these cats to come out of the bricks. I've been playing with house cats, you know, for years, but I have not wrestled the big cats. I fed a steak to a tiger once.
Oh,
That was intense.
how interesting. But for some reason, I'm not surprised you've done that.
I only did it once, but it was within a safe spot. In Arizona, there was this one jungle place called Out of Africa, I believe. We've taken the kids there. I don't even know if they remember. But you get right up close to all the cats.
So how does a tiger like its steak done?
Oh, completely raw. So raw, but probably aged to perfection.
Oh, Donna said, I enjoyed John's Freezy edition. That's
Oh,
awesome.
that's nice.
Yeah. If you are not a part of the Freezy edition, I'm sending a link in the chat now to check it out. You know, get some fresh fun in your inbox every week. Is it every week? Am I wrong about that? Yes, every Friday.
It's also a dream come true to be able to write and sketch and draw and talk about the drawings. You know, it's a challenge to write every week. It's a good challenge. And I have my favorite writers that I try to emulate a little. Oh, there's so much. I switched over to a large brush, but there's so much area to cover. So I'm going to probably just get into some water, splashing soon. The pigment stays on the brush, and you don't need much. It goes a long way. If you get a spot where you have too much brown, you'll notice. When you add another color, you'll see it starts to get activated a little. So I sort of do some cursive writing. I follow a lot of artists who do calligraphy, and I love doing calligraphy. And they do these things when they're making the art. They do this cursive writing. You can put it everywhere. Gets that color where you want it to go. Use the edge of the metal. I got a lot of bricks to make. So I think this thing will take a little while, but we're going to start adding some more colors in. It'll be fine.
Yeah. So tell me, is this, I feel like you've kind of developed such a unique style in your art. Is this something that we've always kind of seen in your art, this kind of graphic style, this stylization, or is this something that kind of evolved over time?
It did evolve, but I also regressed back to being like a little kid. I will tell stories within the drawing using the shapes in such a way where you get a lot into a space, and that's what I like about different types of comics. Not the commercial comics so much, but other French artists, different Italian artists I've seen. They did this futuristic stuff like Mobius.
Yeah.
Where they can have such a large feeling of space in a small space.
So what advice would you give to someone that's wanting to discover their own style?
Yes. Let's see. When you're discovering your style, you want to sketch every day. Get you some very fancy materials and sketchbooks and just keep sketching every day. This way you are going to come up with line work, shapes, figures, cartoon characters, anything that you want to work on, you just spend a lot of time on it and you get better and better. You'll get so in tune with yourself.
Yeah, I feel like a big part of it is exactly what you just said, getting in tune with yourself. And I feel like it is something that as you do more, like as you create art and you grow your skills and do that, your voice and your personal style will start to emerge from that. So I think the best way to kind of develop your own personal style and voice is to start out your skills and to really get those beefed up. Beefy enough to feed to a tiger.
Oh, feeding the skills. You're right there in right brain world with me. Yeah. I would imagine that when people have not done a sketchbook for very long and they start off, it's such a good feeling to accomplish something in the morning. So I recommend you do it for at least an hour and don't look at your phone. Maybe your alarm clock or something, but just put the phone far away from you and get way into it. You don't need to have loud music or anything. You just look around at nature. But wherever you are with the sketchbook, it can be your place of studying, getting in tune, especially when you're in Europe, because you do not want to experience culture shock. And it will help you with that. You can write about all your adventures and your emotions or whatever, but it's all for you, and it doesn't have to be a special thing just for somebody. You're thinking of your audience. You're making the best drawings you can, but even if you want to scribble paint marks, you have many books, and you just do one after the other, and that way when you look back at some marks, you will remember them. If you put them in motion, even in those times, when you look back at books from the past, it's very fun. You'll see what you were feeling at the time. It'll still be as fresh as in the moment.
Yeah. Well, we also got a question in the chat. It's kind of interesting. Someone asked if you did the L theory when you did this piece.
Oh, good question. Yes, indeed. It's a three-dimensional version of it I'm starting to do with boxes where they have some L's shapes within, but now we must go to orange.
Yeah. And for those that don't know, if you're like, what in the heck are y'all talking about? The L theory is a theory of drawing and creating that John goes into more depth in the mastery program. I'll put a link to the mastery program if you want to check it out. Maybe learn about the L theory yourself, but that's what that is in case you're wondering.
And here's where a few sections have it visible. This watercolor is from the place where St. Francis lived, of Assisi. St. Francis of Assisi. And we went strolling through the Italian mountains there, and we found an art supply store with super cool brushes and watercolors, and we were fully ready to buy the entire store and buy everything they had, but we had to hold back because we were traveling too heavy. We got just enough to fit in the cases, and then year after year we're going back, getting more. And I saw my friend from Italy has painted some beautiful bobcats too. This is a bobcat, but it could be a Florida bobcat. Did you know a Florida bobcat walked right by my front door?
Wow.
And I caught it on camera. And
That
I have
sucks.
been walking my dog in this area, and it's about 3 times bigger than my dachshund.
Oh yeah, they're surprisingly big, especially when you see them like out and about. It's like, oh, hello. They have a certain energy to them that I could only describe as somewhat sassy.
It was just panting and panting. I thought I should get it some water. No, it knows where the water is. And it just was panting and going back and forth. And then it just went on a trail, just bounced, doo, 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 doo. I brought my dog back in the house. I was not going to walk my dog near to it.
I think Georgie would win
Oh.
against a bobcat.
Oh, I didn't even want to imagine that. How many people out here, listeners and viewers, how many of you have wild animals going by your house?
Oh, Don is asking an interesting question. What does John do to keep his imagination so active?
I guess I like sketching every morning, early morning. I like to go into nature. I like to eat really healthy, the best I can. Then I like a little bit of exercise right in the morning. It's the first thing I do. And that way, the energy's flowing all day. You start out right, get a good sleep, get some good dreams, get a nice balance of work and rest. I do study the internet, lots and lots of different artists. I go to museums, galleries. I study the work as full as I can. I just load up on inspiration. And I've been doing that forever. I lived in Hawaii 23 years, and I was able to go to some very interesting museums, take classes there when I was young. And some galleries would let me go in and study Salvador Dali works or different very extravagant artists. So I kept imagining one day I will be in galleries, I will make my work and get out there. So I pushed myself. I like that question. That was a fun one. I have not been looking at the time.
I know, we're almost at time already.
What time is it?
It's 4:28. You have 2 minutes.
Oh,
I know.
well, what I'm going to do on this piece in particular is get a lot more vibrant colors. I'm just going to get some spray paint and some stencils, and then, make this stained background for a while, fading from brown to orange to golds. So I know that we can continue, and we'll keep in contact, and you can catch our show.
Yeah.
So if you are up for it, we would love you to like and subscribe to this Freezy J channel. I love talking and painting. It is one of my favorite things to do. I've dreamed of this moment forever.
And his dreams are coming true.
And I would like to do it more often. If you all will write letters and say more Freezy shows, I will
Yeah,
continue.
tell us in the comments, the chat, wherever, what you'd like to see, what kind of ideas you'd have, you'd like John to do. John's a wild guy. He's open to pretty much anything. So yeah. All right. Well, unfortunately, our time is coming to a close. So thank you for joining.
Was this viewpoint working for everyone? Can we see the sketchy quality or all that?
I think so.
Okay, because I will continue it on. We can do another show. I will get fully into it, show you the finishing touches. But I would like to say thank you to everyone who's watching and to let you know that we do have a school called the Milan Art Institute. We have a mastery program, which is like a 4-year college experience that is into 1 year that you follow along with, and you can do it at your own pace. And there's a lot more to find out about it.